is what you're made of. You are perfect and pure, even if you're not sure. It's what you're made of. L-O-V-E, love.
That can be our meditation for the whole week. And let's do it. Let's sit and just repeat that to ourselves and focus on that truth. I'd like to first start out by offering you guys some free booklets from Unity. And this one's for Lent. It's called Release and Reimagine, and that's what we're doing today. We're releasing the old story about who we are, and we're reimagining ourselves as pure light. And however that shows up, we know it's going to be perfect because it's directed by light. And the other one is Gems of Wisdom, which is a booklet that was put together for Black History Month. It's all from Black leaders of the New Thought movement. It's all their stories, or some of the stories. And, you know, I made a statement a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. Boy, time goes by, and it seems like a whole year has passed between last week and this week. But I said, you know, if it wasn't for the Black church, this church wouldn't be here. Well, this version of this place with me as the minister, because I really got my start in New Thought in a Black church in Amherst, Massachusetts, Hope Community Church. But also, another thing happened that was really important for me is one of the women that wrote this book, Gems of Wisdom, is Reverend Sandra Campbell. And Sandra Campbell was one of the ministers that interviewed me when I went for the very first interview to see if I'd be admitted into the School of, it's not School of Christianity. That year they changed the name to Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute. And so she was one of two ministers that interviewed me, and I was accepted that day. And something profound happened to me because I always felt just more comfortable around people of color. They felt like family to me, felt like home. And so it was really great. I had one guy who was really new age, new thought, very like a meditator. He said at one time, he wrote, he meditated for 3,000 days straight. The last bunch of years, he just said, I'm going to do this every day. So I had a meditator, and I had a really strong, powerful Black woman. And I knew that they would tell me the truth. Those two people were going to let me know if I was Unity material or not. I knew they'd be honest with me. And so that was a little bit of my journey there. I want to say one thing that I have known in all my life is this statement that I'm about to tell you really rings true. It's been said that the root of all evil and every conflict that we experience as human beings is the idea that some lives are less important than others. If we can't treat everybody all the same, then we're lost as a species. And you are the ones who are standing up saying, I am power, I am peace, I am love, I am the place where God shines through. I'm going to stand up and treat everyone as they are the Christ to me. They are the place where God shines through. And that I need your individual expression of God just as you are. But you know, this way of looking at people is a symptom. It's a symptom of the deeper sickness of the mind, which is the perception of separation. So today I want to offer you the cure for this disease. Are you ready? This is a healing service. I'm going to offer you the cure for this disease of separation and the root of all evil. It's called atonement. At-one-ment. Changing our minds. You know, at-one-ment is defined as the correction, atonement from the Bible. If you really look at it and study the deeper meaning, it comes from the idea that it is the correction of our perception and the return to our inherent divine mind. To return to oneness, at-one-ment, atonement is at-one-ment. It's correcting my perception of myself and of you and of the universe. It's a shift from limited perception to spiritual vision. If you stick with me through this whole thing, you'll see where it's going. It's a journey. It's a continuous thread. It starts by claiming who you truly are. And this process, as a lot of you guys know, it brings you through a lot of releasing. That's why the Lenten book is release and reimagine. Release the old story about who you thought you were. I love this book. I've been reading it. It started on Wednesday. And it says today, seeing things differently. First Sunday in Lent. One of the greatest spiritual gifts we've been given is the ability to shift our perception. Even when life doesn't unfold as we hoped, prayed for, or planned, we are not powerless. How many of you have felt powerless every now and then in the face of what seems to be happening in the world today? Well, you're not powerless. You can choose to see differently. We can choose to see differently. We can reframe our experience by using what? A deeper spiritual lens. Lent invites us to release old stories and awaken to our divine faculties, especially the power of imagination. Now, the shift from limited perception to spiritual vision, it's going to take a commitment on your part. You're going to have to say, this is what I want to do. I want to shift my consciousness. But fear not. Evolution is on your side. We are in the evolutionary process of a great shift in consciousness. It's just a matter of getting in the river, getting in the flow, and flowing with it. The only thing we have to do is decide it's what we want. Do we want to see the Christ in all our brothers and sisters, or do we want to continue in the sickness of separation? Judging and defining the other, this illusion of other, when we're all one. If we're going to see the Christ in one another, it's imperative that we strengthen our spiritual vision. We talk a lot about prayer, meditation, but there are other things too. Mindfulness is a very important practice. Applying that to every part of your life. What you eat, what you say, what you watch, who you talk to, what you say when you're talking to them. What is the purpose for each moment? Being mindful of your presence. Being mindful that you are the presence of God in this situation. You're the place where God shines through. So we are strengthening something, and it's called spiritual vision. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus asked Peter, "Who do you say that I am?" And finally, Simon Peter says, "You are the Christ." And Jesus tells him, "Flesh and blood has not revealed this to you," indicating that he saw the Christ in Jesus through spiritual vision. I want to read you that scripture. It's directly from the Aramaic translation. I love looking up different translations and comparing them to see what they mean. And there's a beautiful tool online called Bible Hub, and it has the Aramaic translation in plain English. And I love that. I just love it. So I'm going to try to read you this scripture directly from the Aramaic. And I want to note, first of all, that in the Aramaic, he's called Yeshua. And I think it's important to remember that. Yeshua. Yeshua. That's the way the Hebrews used to say it. Maybe they still do. When Yeshua came to the region of Caesarea in Philippi, he asked his disciples, what is it that people are saying about me? What are they saying the Son of Man is? And they say, some say Yohanan the Baptizer, which was called John the Baptist. Others says that you're Elijah. Others say you're Jeremiah or one of the other prophets. But he said to them, who do you say that I am? I don't care what they say. Who do you say that I am? What's your experience? And Simeon, later called Kepha, answered, you're the Messiah, the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Yeshua said to him, you are blessed, Simeon Bar Yonah, because flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven, the Spirit, has revealed this to you. Also I say to you, now you are Kepha, the one we call today Peter. So he was Simon, he became Peter because he had a transformation of his vision. He became a whole new person. That's how I became Tony, by the way. I was James and I became Tony. And I like Tony because, I don't know, it just fits. Doesn't it? It just fits me better. So, Simon became Peter, or Simeon became Kepha. And he said to him, upon this stone shall I build my church. He wasn't saying upon this personality, upon this person, I'm going to build my church. What he was saying was upon this stone, this foundation of spiritual vision. He was saying that his church, his teaching, his ministry, the spiritual movement inaugurated by Yeshua was to be built upon spiritual vision, not upon the perception of the human being. That's why I read all those translations, because there's all kinds of different perceptions about what was said in those days. But basically, you have to go back and read the story and put yourself in that story. What was happening in that moment? I saw the Christ in someone. Wow. I saw the divine light in someone. That's Richard Rohr. We read that book together, right? The Universal Christ. He says it's divine energy. The Christ is not a person. This is a Catholic priest. This is why I love that guy so much. He's had a great transformation of his mind. He says the Christ is not a person. It's spiritual energy. You know, my computer still corrects me every Saturday night when I'm typing up the message and I write the Christ. It underlines it. And it wants to change it to Christ, the person. AI is not intelligent, folks. It's artificial, but it's not intelligent. Let me tell you. So the same vision that Peter used to see the Christ in Yeshua, or Kepha used to see the Christ in Yeshua, this is the same spiritual vision that you build your spiritual practice, your church upon. The church isn't a building. It's not an organization. Rafi's tapping his heart. You got it, brother. The church is within you. It's in your heart. And it's the place where our hearts combine. It's the place where our hearts come together. And they're come together right here today. And they're going to bring about whatever healing you need. The hearts joined together here today are going to bring about whatever miracle you need in your life right now. I'm serious about this because this is all I do in my life every day. Sometimes I need a miracle too, guys. So help me out. Come on. Get that spiritual energy going. So, this is the spiritual vision which resides in the consciousness of every individual, even if it's buried deep beneath a lot of judgments and old beliefs and separation. Because we all need to get through this moment of learning. That's all it is. You're not good or bad. You're just learning. You're evolving. Evolution's on your side. So what he was saying is that all of this is going to be based on spiritual vision. When Yeshua talked about the kingdom of heaven, he wasn't referring to a physical place. He was talking about the heaven of your consciousness. The place where you are not only aware of divine mind, you are identifying with it. You're identifying yourself as the light, the divine light, which is what Christ is. And it's from that place in consciousness that we perceive the Christ in one another. We see with the eyes of the heart. Rafi was jumping ahead in my sermon here. He knew what was coming. We see with the eyes of the heart. It's Carl Jung who said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart, because he who looks outside dreams, and he who looks within awakens. Carl Jung is an amazing person. I've been listening a lot to who's that British philosopher? Alan Watts. Thank you. Thank you. You knew exactly who it was. Because he got all of his inspiration from Carl Jung. And I love listening to that guy. It's so singular in its expression of the divinity and the power of the human mind and the human heart, which is really what your mind is. Yeah, that's the real mind. You think with your heart. And as you look within your own consciousness, you'll find the eyes of your heart. You can see through that feeling faculty that you have. You can see with your heart. As you look within your own consciousness, you'll find those eyes of your heart. You'll learn with increasing clarity how to use those eyes. This new perception, seeing with your heart, it's born out of our innate spiritual power of imagination. That's why after we release, we have to imagine. After we release the old perception, then we have a space. You know, that's where all your power is, right? Is that space. Now it's your turn to imagine what you will create, how you will respond. Imagine all the goodness. You know, if you just keep imagining what can go wrong, it's going to keep going wrong. Sorry, but that's how it works. Because you're powerful. Your mind is powerful. But we're going to use our power of divine imagination. That's where prayer resides. It's divine imagination. It's from that place of divine imagination that we begin to shape and form this world, powerfully transformed, not by force, but by love. Whatever form the Christ takes for you It's up to you to see it, to choose spiritual vision over the illusion of other. First we see it in ourselves, and then we choose to see it in the other person. That's how we keep it. You can only keep what you give away. It's another spiritual law. If you hold on, you won't have anything. If you give it away, you not only retain it, you have it, someone else has it too. Now you're sharing it. Now something's really happening. It's expanding. Isn't that amazing? You hold on to it, what happens? It just rots in your hands. It gets old, it's not used for anything. It's energy that's not being used. That's the problem, another symptom of separation. There's a lot of hoarding going on. And it's energy that could be used for good, and it's not being used. So it's really worthless. Let's move on. Let's move on to things that really have value, like your neighbor, and that conversation you're going to have with them, and that healing moment you're going to share, and that beautiful breath of air you're going to take. Yeah, don't look at this coming snowstorm as something bad. What did we ran into a guy at Trader Joe's. One Sunday, a lot of you guys go over there shopping after service. And I don't know, it was raining and snowing and sleeting all at the same time, and it was windy. It was slapping you in the face. And I don't know, for some reason I complained about the weather. And this lovely guy says, there's no bad weather, just bad choice of clothing. Yeah, I love it. That's when I went out and bought a winter coat. Thanks. So it's all perception. It's perception and imagination, guys. And we're going to take our imagination and imagine a world that works for everyone. We're going to imagine and we're going to accept and be grateful for a world that works for everyone. And it's up to us, each one of us, to demonstrate the qualities of Christ in this world. We have to demonstrate those qualities, to release the old story of separation and reimagine a world that works for each and every being. A world where we recognize and respect and honor the divine energy in each other. Each and every person is calling out to you from their soul with one question. Who do you say that I am? I love you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at unityonCapeCod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.